Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for the patience through that delay. It was a little bit longer than normal on that break because, well, Sammy Okasaga needed just a few minutes off of his clock to deal the first loss of the tournament to Will Anderson. As promised, we will be featuring two more Americans in this matchup, Will Anderson versus David Whitley. We promised we would ride out the Will hot streak as long as it lasted, but as soon as I said that, I put the announcer's hex on him and he dropped a game. We will do our very best to get at least one game from Wellington on the stream before the day ends. He's the only previous world champ who hasn't yet been on stream, and we're doing our best to fix that as soon as possible, trying to find a compelling matchup to get him up there as well. Once again, I am your MC for the whole tournament, MC Matt Canik. Those are my initials as well. This afternoon, I've been graciously joined by Geoff Thevenot from the Chicago area in the States. So thanks again, Geoff, for coming on the stream. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we are just about to get underway. David Whitley to go first. Can he take Will for his second consecutive loss, or will Will correct the ship and get back? Wellington just one game behind Will, as is Sammy Okasaga. Both of those players at 11-2. Will at 12-1. So Will wants to win this game to retain sole possession of first place in this tournament. David to go first, EEEHKOV on his rack, and KEEVE looks pretty clearly to be the strongest play here, though perhaps Evoke instead if he wants to hold on to one of these E's. Geoff, do you think Kiev has got to be the play here?
I think Kiev is I would go with Kiev. I don't think the difference in leaves is enough to justify the point sacrifice. There's a couple of other interesting Collins words in this, although I wouldn't play these words in this case. Would be EVHOE and EVOHE. Evo. But Dave I think rightly goes with Kiev here to start, so that's a good solid score, 34, I believe.
Yeah, 34 points. Got to try to get that K on the double letter if you can. EVHOE and EVOHE, are those both alternate spellings of EVOE?
I believe they are, yeah. Yeah, they're similar, and those are interjections, I believe.
And for those of you just now learning those words, there, as Geoff said, both interjections, neither one takes an S behind them. Now, Will looking to respond, down 0-34, ABELNUZ on his rack. Kanzu looks to be a very nice play, KANZU, 36 points, but the danger of that play, where it slots that Z one space in front of a double word, means easy overlaps likely to come with ZA, ZE, or ZO. So perhaps we see BUAZE down to the E instead, or ZEBU and ZE above Kiev. Geoff, would you play Kanzu, or would you think to play defense here?
I would probably play a little more defense than that, because Kanzu is just so easy to score back with. But I mean, on the other hand, BEL is a pretty synergistic leave, so I wouldn't rule it out. I would just definitely have to think about it. Boise is, let's see, that's to the difference in points there, but
Boise 32, Kanzu 36.
Right, 4 points. It's only 4 points difference. I think I would go with Boise, however you say that.
Yeah,
I don't think Kanzu is bad, though. I should say it that way. I mean, it's just, especially with the addition of ZE, it's going to make it a little more easy. Another thing, an opponent could do is play through that first E in Kiev, along that double word corridor and score pretty well with the right tiles. But anyway, again, I think there's definitely some advantages of Kanzu too, both the score and the leave. So
yeah, definitely a better leave on that play, but it will probably get OHED from David Whitley out of this DDEFHOT. OHED to score 43 points holding DFT. I think that's got to be the play. Colby agreeing from the gallery as well.
Yeah, that looks pretty strong here as well.
Maybe DZHO if you really do want to hold on to that E. It'll also set up the F. But we will see. I think it's got to be OHED here.
Yeah, I think that's going to be stronger, and and even something like DZHO that scores a little bit less, and just because you set up that, let's see, where would you How would you wait? Did you say set up the F?
Oh, sorry, set up the. Oh, it doesn't set up the
Yeah,
F.
it doesn't.
My
Yeah.
bad. My bad.
I say even if it did, it would be fairly likely that your opponent would take that. I would think. So I don't know that I would. Yeah,
So DZHO it is. David electing to hold on to that
Yeah.
E. He will be giving up significant points, though. 9-point sacrifice to hold DEFT over DFT.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would do. I mean, plus there's I mean, there are E's on the board available to use too. I mean, not that that's absolutely decisive here, but it's a factor that you might consider in that case.
Yes. Oh boy, my dog going nuts right now. Man, he really wanted OHED to be played, and he's letting David hear it.
Again, no, I don't think. I mean, I think DZHO is a reasonable play. It's just maybe not ideal for a couple of reasons. Yeah.
Now, will rather garbage draw BELRRSX on his rack. I think you've got to get rid of the X here, and there's no great ways to do it. RAX likely to come down through the A in Kanzu. RAX and B sad, I think the correct sequence here, unless you want to play BRR and BO instead to hold on to that X one more turn. What do you think, Geoff?
I'm just looking through possibilities with this X here, but I mean, let's see, Rax is 921. I'm reluctantly, but yeah, I would probably lean toward Rax, honestly.
Yeah,
Rax. I mean, I would love to see, if there was a better play like through the E forming X and EX or ending in EX. But if he had a U, for example, he could play Urbex, and that would be nice, but he doesn't.
Yeah, none of those plays available. Maybe Boxer through the O, setting up the S. Do you like that a little more?
Let's see, for 9, 18, I don't think so. I think
Boxer for 22. Yeah. LRS, not a great leave to punish that spot, though.
Yeah. And and then there's no guarantee that David also doesn't have an S. And I think I don't know that you want to just hand out an easy hook right now.
So Rax and be sad, the option Will electing for, and he will indeed be sad as he draws 2 more consonants into that lead. A little close to Scrabble. You automatically win the game if you play Scrabble, especially on stream. Just kidding, that is not a rule. And David scoring quite well. FedEx to the EX for 32 points, but VPT blank, a leave that could go one of 2 ways. We'll see how it goes for him. BCELRRS, the pull for Will. And again, be sad, I think the sequence. Once again, BRR, an option on top of the O, 21 points.
What a draw for David, though.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it went a better way.
Yes, one of 2 ways, right? You either steal bingo or die. And he will have an awesome bingo down to the E, a biochemistry word. He must know that I'm on stream doing commentary here. And
even if he doesn't happen to see that, I believe Pravity is.
So the 7-letter Pravity, Pravity, plays for 87 points, making BOP, but 2 bingos down to the E as well. They are Veritype and Pyruvate. Both of them will slot the blank on the double letter, but 95 points, you can't complain about something minuscule like that, right?
Yeah. So, in all likelihood, David is going to score quite a bit here.
Yeah, man, Pyruvate would be an awesome find for David here. Yeah. Giving me flashback to the Krebs cycle, though, and I'm not having a good time with that. No more glycolysis, please, and thank you.
Yeah, that's not the easiest thing to see. And I'm curious. I believe, although I'm not sure because I don't tease these apart as well as I used to, but Pravity is Collins only. Although David has been playing Collins for quite a while, so I don't know if that's would make. I think that may be that's something he might be able to find if he needs to. Although if he sees Veritype or Pyruvate, then I think that's going to be what he'll go with.
Yeah, Pyruvate in both lexica, but Veritype and Pravity just CSW. Although I think David primarily does play CSW now. I don't know.
Yeah, he has for a while. Yeah, I would consider him a Collins player. He's been on that Collins circuit for many years.
So David going to stare at this rack for a while. Again, everything a lot harder on stream. Pravity a word, maybe you play on a normal board, but you're afraid to drop a phony on stream. And against a player whose word knowledge is as solid as Will's, you want to be certain of anything you try. But the upside, 87 points or 95 for one of these bingos, has to make it worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not only do you have to be sure, but I mean, I think there's a tendency sometimes when you have tiles like V and Y on your rack to cut short your bingo searching because it's less likely that you'll have one. But in this case, there's 3 available. Hopefully he'll see one of them. But it's a little, if he doesn't see, something right away, then there may be some concern that it'll get missed. I hope it doesn't, because these would be really nice finds.
The chat pointing out Veritype means to produce a copy on a special typewriter. I do wonder what kind of typewriter it is to make Veritypes. Curious, a variant? Where does that VARI root come from? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'd be curious.
All right, fire up the old Google machine. Veritype, what is that? Google. A Veritypewriter is an electric typewriter that would automatically rewind the carriage at the end of each line. So variable typer, they can use different typefaces as well, something like that. Okay, no. Veritype, variable typewriter. All right, neat. David wisely spending his time here. When you've got goodies like this, you want to make sure you maximize these opportunities. And it looks like he is not going to be bingoing here. PATY instead coming down here. Oof. Okay.
Yeah, that's a game changer. As I was saying, it's sometimes difficult when you have only one vowel, you have a V, a Y, a P, you're thinking, this rack needs one more turn of grooming. And often you're going to be right when you say that. But, in this case, fortunately, there were bingos that were playable. And so that's a big opportunity missed, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Will looking to capitalize. He will be able to bingo now through either the P or the A.
Yes.
Hills playing for 68, Salicine playing for 64. Between those options, Geoff, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I think Penicill's what Will's doing. Salicine is one short of a double word, is it not?
It is, yeah. And does that one take an S?
I'm not sure it does.
It does. I had to check.
Yeah, I had to think about it. Yeah, that's I hadn't seen that one in a while. But yeah, that's one of those things where, if it didn't take an S, I might think about it to bait it. But even then, that's not something I would normally do. And I think Penicill's is just a stronger play anyway.
Yeah, take the points. It's good, and you can't get punished too hard above it, as the C kind of forks that into 2 separate dimensions there. Will picking up the Q after his bingo, so we'll be looking to capitalize or at least shed that, depending on what the board offers him. And David, a terrible draw after missing that bingo previously. He'll now have 6 consonants and a blank. I think one play to bail him out here. That's Vintry, VINTRY, through the second I in Penicills. Although Vary, VARY, also plays nicely through the A in Patty. Geoff, are you looking to play long and get rid of as many of these consonants?
Vintry, yeah, I think is clearly what I would do. And one problem with Vary also is that, not only like NY takes a front A, but it also takes a front O.
Oh, so yes.
In other words, and a little 3-tile overlap, with mid-pointers or high point consonants could come back to bite you if you did that. And you're still keeping, you're taking some risk that you're going to draw even more consonants. So I would get through this rack, and, C blank, there, is a fine place to start. And Vintry's going to score at least a little bit. So, it's like 24.
Yeah, 24 points, not bad out of this situation.
Yeah, and there's just not a lot of other spots that you can clean this up, where you can clean this up. So yeah, I like what David is doing here.
So Vintry is coming down. C blank, a good place to start, looking for those bingos, and we'll see if he pulls one this turn. Will FIIMNQS, now down 2 points after David's play, 145 to 147. But I think he's got a pretty obvious play here, QIN to the N in Kanzu. Far and away the best option for me. Nearly 20 points of equity above any other option. You've got to make that play. I don't think there's much to analyze here.
Yeah, this is just simple board vision, and Will has that in spades, so I assume that that's what we're going to see.
David on the other side has drawn really cool 2 blanks now. Running this through Quackle, he will have a 9-letter bingo for a ton of points through the disconnected. Excuse me, I'm so excited I had to sneeze. Through the disconnected ER. There's a fun one for our team, our chat and our team at home, but likely to score a bunch of points out of this rack no matter what. I'll let y'all look for that bonkers 9. That is a Nigel tier play, though.
Yeah, I'm still working on it myself. That's impressive. That's cool.
It starts
and even if he doesn't find that, there's going to be other bingos too that, so which is good. That'll help David's situation considerably. But yeah, if he finds the 9, that'll be fantastic.
No one ever finding the 9. Whoa. So QIS and Kanzu's instead coming down for Will. All right. That is 43 points. Is burning the blank here, but it's going to take away one of the best options for David. He had Cushion and Kanzu's for 90 points, and the normal people and not just Nigel find this bingo territory. And now his highest scoring non-9 at just 81 points after the QIS play from Will, who also sets up his eye to score next turn.
Yeah, I think that may have been part of the thinking as well. And, putting the S hook on Kanzu, it takes away that line, which I think he may be inferring that, well, I don't know but Ventry doesn't necessarily tell you that. But I was thinking that, he's looking to maybe control that area of the board a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think QIN is awfully tempting, though, at least. I mean...
Yeah, that was a curious decision, but likely to help Will out here as Cushion no longer playing Ouching.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ouching, Ouching, the highest scoring bingo for David aside from the 9. The 9, as chat has solved, surely without any assistance from anagrammers whatsoever, is Neurochip. Neurochip. How disgusting.
Yeah, that would be Nigel could probably find that, but that's the thing is, I mean, even if you like myself and some other players, have gone through and studied 9s, they're studying 9s or knowing 9s, and then there's finding them in situations like this, and that's 2 different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard, especially with 2 blanks. So you're not going to, I mean, and limit, your clock is ticking. So, a lot of times you just, all right, if I don't make a superstar play, at least I'm going to not spend 10 minutes off my clock.
I think Nigel Richards may be one of just a few players on the planet, if not the only one who would spot that with blanks on stream at a world championship.
Yeah, that would be impressive.
Although for international players, Mac Meller in the United States, largely just an NWL player, but I've seen him do some disgusting things as well. He studies 9s. He's got them down very routinely. I've watched him play. I think he played 3 or 4 9s next to me at the Niagara Falls tournament, almost all of them instantly too. And every single one, like, I have no doubt that this was good. So,
and Dave Wiegand would be another person that would come to mind as somebody who, I would certainly not put past finding Neurochip in this case.
Dave is a beast. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. What a beast.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing that for so long and he's just so good at it.
All right. So what is coming down? It looks like Kuthier.
Yeah.
We'll get a confirmation. That has to be ER, right? There's no Kuthing?
No.
No, just touching.
I mean, maybe he wasn't sure of Ouching. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps not sure of Ouching.
Outrid or whatever other options with Boo.
Maybe he just wants to keep this board open too. Maybe he sees his clock ticking and is just like, let me just make a play and move on with my life and try to see where this game takes me from now. But Kuthier, the play production team has notified me that blanks confirmed to be E and R. So Kuthier the play, and Will, Filmnu, on his rack now, looking to respond to the double blank bingo. I think the best way to do so would be Phylum, Filum, forming Fy, and Will agrees with my analysis before we can even talk about it.
Phylum. Yeah.
Got to play that, right?
Yeah,
That's a great play.
Yeah, I mean, once Ventry came down and Will had that F, I was looking for him to use the Fy spot at some point, and he's done so very helpfully here.
So Phylum to put Will ahead by 3 points, 228 to 225 now. But David with some good scoring tiles, AAJLPUW, PA or WAP plays on top of Penicils for 39 points. Also Puja, if he looks to cash in the J, plays in two different places alongside Phylum for 38 or underneath DZHO forming Bop for 28. Geoff, would you be looking to play WAP in this situation or shed the J with Puja?
Well, I mean, in that it's sort of an easy spot to take for, if you can get 39 points out of WAP, and you've got that would be my first instinct. Although, I would definitely want to look around because there may be, that's the kind of thing you wouldn't want to jump on too fast, because if there's a better way to use a J or a better way to shape the board, you might want to consider something like that too. But yeah, I mean, WAP is, again, pretty straightforward and looks to be pretty strong. And
yeah, I think I agree. I think WAP is the play here. David wants to make sure he's not missing any cool words. Using that R in the triple, Will's such a dangerous player. You don't want to leave a triple open against him. He will find it. But no good options using that.
That's the thing. The first thing I would be looking at, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily jump to play there, but it's definitely the first thing I would look at. I think everybody just sort of naturally gravitates to those high value lines, which is kind of a risk because it can cause you to miss things in lower value places that are actually better. Boy, I wish I had an N. I could get Prajna, like Prajna through that R, but
ooh, that'd be nice.
But, yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that, and we don't have. Yeah, I mean, we're close to some stuff, but we're not quite there. Is what I'm seeing.
The only play to that R that looks even reasonably competitive is a jar for 30 holding LPUW, and that UW combination just not something you're interested in holding here.
Yeah, I mean, rarely would you be interested in that. So yeah.
So
I expect like JALAP, but there really isn't.
Yeah, I expect reluctantly Dave to play WAP here in the absence of any other options, and Will has had a wonderful draw.
Oh yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so that R looks tempting to triple, right? You got the Stainer rack with an A, right? But no triples through an R. He'll be forced, unfortunately, to play Artesian, Ratanese, or Resonata in that spot. But nothing to complain about for Will. Great draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's
WAUR, maybe something he's thinking about as well. I don't know. I think
that just doesn't score enough. It's like 18. Talking about playing it on the triple lane there.
Okay.
Okay.
I was like, what is happening? I'm so impressed. Okay.
Is he playing? Oh, yeah, that's not valid.
That's not a word. Yeah, perhaps mixing
PILAW is.
Yeah. And Will is not having it, immediately stopping the clock. Okay. Maybe that's what was taking so long here. No auto WAP for David. Instead,
it's too bad because, I mean, WAP actually scores more than that.
Yeah. Curious play.
Yeah.
Maybe this.
Yeah, that's critical.
Did JEW get removed from Collins as well? Yes, it did.
Yeah. You can't.
So not even a setup.
No.
Oof. Okay, big turn in this game. First the miss on Pyruvate, and now the lost turn for David. And it looks like Will now in the driver's seat as he's to bingo on his way to what looks to be his 13th victory in this game. But the game's not over till the fat lady sung. So Will bingo here, David with a bad rack. But we've seen crazier things on stream already this tournament. What will happen?
Oh, yeah, it's far from over. Let's see. Will's gonna pick up for a triple lane bingo. It's only going to score 71, but
Yeah, sad triple lane bingo, but at the same time, it's a bingo. And he's also got to think about, well, I've just seen a P and a W, so maybe actually not going to block the spot. He knows David doesn't.
That's true. He didn't have to worry about it so much. And if that's astute, because if David had a viable play on that triple lane, he would have done so in the last turn. And the fact that he didn't do it means that he still doesn't have one, or very likely doesn't.
Yeah, interesting thought by Will. And this is also going to do some cool stuff to the board. We've seen Will before on stream, bingo to pull ahead by about a bingo score and do so in a way that most obstructs the board. And he's done so again here.
What's kind of interesting here, though, is that, David didn't telegraph that he's holding the J. And now he has the JA spot that Tania's creates, and he's just going to drop down jaw. So, it kind of was a fortunate turn of events for David there.
Or perhaps a mind read. Well played, David. Nice job.
Yeah. I will you to give me.
All right. Yeah, no.
But even with that, I like what Will did, though, because, it's so easy to go into kind of an autopilot mode where you just slap down one of the 3 anagrams that fits on that triple lane, and you don't really even think about those other considerations. But, a player of Will's caliber obviously does, and that's part of, why he's had the success that he's had.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very heads-up play by Will, and a play a lot of people would insta-play. I think myself included in that, a lot of people. So cool stuff by Will, and we'll see if it pulls dividends for him. He knows that R is his to hit, and yet I think he's got to play Wig above Penicils here for 35 instead, right?
Yeah, that's going to give him the best. Let's see how many he's in the board. Yeah, that's what I would be leaning toward that. It's straightforward. It scores pretty well. It, cleans the rack or matures the rack a little bit.
We'll pull up the unseen pool here to drive the analysis. This one's looking kind of wild. 17 vowels, 15 consonants. That's one of the highest skews we've seen at this juncture yet, including 6 O's, 4 A's, and 4 E's. That's kind of wild. So maybe.
Oh, well, yeah, they're vowel heavy. Yeah.
Very vowel heavy. So that's going to drive some of the thought process here as well. If you're playing off your consonants, EERT doesn't quite look so good if you draw OO into it.
Yeah, and then there's just not a lot of high point tiles left at all. B, P, and M are 3-pointers, and they're the biggest thing in the pool. So it definitely suggests, in a sense, Will's already, he's probably closer than David is to like a bingo type rack. But then again,
This is hard.
Because it's one. Because you're I guess you're playing with for bingos. That sort of suggests that. That there's more variance with that strategy. I guess I'm trying to frame my thoughts here, but in other words, if you're going all in on bingo focus and you miss, that may put you in a bad situation.
Yeah. We've seen that over and over on stream. A player with a small lead, 40, 50 points, something like that, get into this mode where they try to bingo, they miss a second time, and suddenly they are losing all of a sudden.
Yeah, it may not be the most appropriate way to think in that situation. And I think that's the concern.
If you do draw the bingo, you step on the jugular, you're done. You've won the game. But when you miss, that's a good way to slowly bleed away. It's tough. It's always hard.
Uh-huh.
That's some of the beauty of this game too, though. So it's always hard.
Well, yeah, and there's that balance to strike. You can't the same approach that you took in the first half of the game might not be the one that serves you best in the second half. So you have to be able to pivot to a different way of thinking when it's necessary.
Absolutely. I wonder if a play like Leger, Lieger, or its anagram Leiger.
I was looking at something like that too, and then you can retain the W to maybe play on top of Penicils, or you could take that spot now too. I can see arguments for doing both things, but
there's also the big spot under the Q. QI plays are going to score a lot, and depending on what letter goes behind that I, do some crazy things. If Will elects to drop Wit in that spot right now, it gives David back Ampool.
I was about to say that's going to really backfire if he does.
So this is This is nuts. I mean, I don't know. If you're Will, like, you don't have this game in the bag, not by any means. I'm looking to avoid Val's. I think I like this play of Leger here quite a bit, but, it's always tough to do unbiased analysis when I can also see David's rack.
I guess another short option would be something like WE on top of Penicils for 26. I mean, I don't know that I'm crazy about it, but I mean, I think it's just playing a little too short, but at least it retains 3 consonants, so that's something you could look to do, but yeah, I would, or maybe regrew down from the R and Kuthier.
Yeah, chat's pointed that out as an option as well. Either down from the R or through the R, both are options as well. That'll kind of muck up this board too.
Yeah.
It looks like that's what he's looking at now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that definitely controls that part of the board, maybe even a little bit better.
And it nicely holds the I for the Q spot at the bottom left of the board, which I think is important.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about that idea. And again, that's why you want to spend a lot of time on a turn like this, because, it takes a while to really suss out all the different options, because there's there's multiple different approaches you can take.
Absolutely.
And each with its own set of candidate plays. So you have to examine it from different perspectives, not just one.
Yes. And so this play now puts Will ahead at 326, 271. Will looking to dodge some of these vowels in the pool. He would love to do that. The more he doesn't draw, the more Dave to draw down the road. So we'll see what he pulls here. But each vowel worse and worse for him. But D, S, A, I, L. So he's missed almost all of them. And that's a great draw for Will. He's also pulled into the 7 dial list. While it doesn't play, it's awesome to have that kind of ammunition.
Mm-hmm. I guess we're just going to see.
OUP, I think a very standard, reasonable play. AELM, a nice lead for David here. Scores some points as well, put some pressure back on Will. 298 to 326 in Will's favor, and Will's turn as he sits on the rack of dial list with no spots to play. He'll have to decide now. He can cash in one of his 2 I's with the QI play, but almost all of those are going to give something back. ID taking a back S and a back E. IT taking a back S and a back A. And looking at this unseen pool, you see there are E's, there are A's, there are no S's. Does Will take this spot here, or does he have to leave it alone?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would play there. He doesn't have to use the leverage he has right away.
Only 1 I in the pool as well. So maybe, odds are David doesn't have a play there. Will doesn't have to.
And that's, so I'm saying that, Will can probably wait a turn on this and do something with he can undouble the I and still have an I.
Yeah. And I'm trying to see, if I'm Will, what is the best tile for me sitting on the last S in this game that I could put behind that I? IN, taking a number of back hooks, those G's, N's, and an S. ID, taking a number of back hooks. IT, multiple back hooks. IO takes an N as well. I don't know that there's any tile you can put there to guarantee only the S plays behind it, right?
True. Although, it's not clear that he's going to have to. I mean, I would say maybe, you'd be thinking, I'm going to hold off on that and not play unless I have to, because, later in the game you may know a little more about what position David Whitley is in, your opponent is in, and then, I think he could, because right now there's just, it seems too early to do that yet. To me, I don't know.
Maybe DI in that spot. Q does take the N, but very few words start with the letter N. It's very unlikely you get bingoed on, and just a shorter play there.
What, EN or AN or?
Yeah, EN, AN, ON as well. Just ON alone could be a decent points for David, though not devastating.
Right.
I think you leave the spot alone. I think that's probably the right call here, just because there's no way to take advantage, and retaining 1 or 2 I's this turn. It's still,
I mean, I think it's not like, I mean, it's so likely to be there next time that you could just sort of revisit it at that point, and just sort of focus on. Let's see. What would I do though?
Where else do you play? Is the next question then?
I wonder if is he looking at Veils up top? I mean, he'd be spending his S, but he would score reasonably well.
I think DI beneath Tayania is making JAI and ID. That'll set up his L, though another L unseen.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. It doesn't. What's only what 16? Yeah.
Yeah, and yet the board rather devoid of scoring opportunities for both players now. So 16 is actually decent points.
That's actually not bad. Maybe.
Oh, this is such a hard turn. Man, Scrabble's interesting. There's also Distal in that same spot. Instead of DI, you can drop down more tiles. Distal scores very well, but I'd be afraid then of a setup that I can't address. I'd like to hold the ammunition.
Yeah, that's one of the values of having an S late in the game is, anything your opponent tries to set up, you're more likely to be able to shut it down. S is a good defensive
tile. Got to hold the S for QI plays.
Yeah, that's why I would be kind of hesitant to do Veils, but maybe Will's thinking about DIT here.
Wow, what a complex situation for Will. He's in the driver's seat. He's got the advantage. He wants to continue to press that advantage without giving opportunities back. And points are the way to maximize your advantage. Any way to score points gives points back to your opponent. This is tough. Dilemma. Thy name is Scrabble. I think I'm more partial to DI with every passing second, ID and JAI, even if the L play comes down jail from David. As Morris Greenberg points out in chat, Will has the last S, and he can play jails underneath.
Yeah.
So he still comes out ahead in that situation.
Yeah, and Tails, I guess, is a very, very good leave.
Even drawing into an O, I feel like AILOST hits fairly often. Solisha, Joist, Taylors, Galliots, Latigos, and all that. Isolate, lots hit if you pick up one O and one other tile there.
Yeah.
I think I'm most sold now on DI, ID, and JAI, but that's with the cross analysis of you and me plus the assistance of multiple experts in chat.
Yeah, it's kind of like Will's last turn. You just have to. There's a lot of different themes to evaluate and a lot of different spots. So.
I'd love to see Scrabble take on an approach similar to chess in these worlds. Chess, they get these big think tanks. They have a world championship between two top players, and you have a room of like 20 nerds on either side sitting there going through every permutation and combination after standard openings over and over.
Yeah.
It'd be so interesting to watch worlds do the same thing. You get 10 Canadian experts, 10 American experts, 10 Australian experts in a room, all debating the same position like this. They get a day to respond to a play after they run all the positions and think through it all. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, wow.
And then put them against, just 10 computers on a team or one Quackle on a team, one Macondo on a team. Humans would likely still lose that matchup, but who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Will's going ahead and doing. I mean, he does have he has an A, he has an S.
Taking a shot. David will be able to respond nicely. A Gleam comes back underneath that, but 36 points is probably not quite enough for David to catch back up. Perhaps he instead looks to open up another quadrant of this board if he can.
Yeah, there's not really an easy way to do that. As far as say the upper left, is I mean, you have to play something to the A, I guess, but even that. What would you play? Let's see. I mean,
I don't know, something like Mage to the E and FedEx and hope to pick up an I. That seems crazy. I think you might just
there's
points.
What's he gonna do here though? It plays game or Gam.
Gam, okay. AELR, a nice leave, but with this pool, with 5 unseen O's, I think this likely to backfire on David.
Yeah. There's that, and he's.
I think that play needed
a lot of things have to go right here for that to work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Gam comes down. I think maybe a rush decision there, and Will can seal this game away. IN beneath DIT is more than likely going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's what he does. Well, I guess it's one thing. I mean, Will at least forces David with Dit. Will at least forces David. You have it now, or I'm going to take it away from you.
Yeah, you got one
So
chance.
sometimes you get that sort of, yeah. If you don't hit it right away, you're not going to hit it. So that puts a lot of pressure on the opponent if the opponent doesn't have the ideal rack.
Yeah, I think there's a song about that where you get one shot. Chad, am I right? You have one shot or one opportunity. Anyway, sorry. David has a sick play here, a 6 underlap underneath Tayinia's. I don't think it's going to win him the game, but it is cool and awesome, and I'd love to see if it comes down.
Huh.
It's a weird 6. Erlang, E-R-L-A-N-G.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's dope. It doesn't win the game or anything.
Smile points galore, though.
Yeah, just go ahead and flex on everybody on stream. I didn't win the game, but I at least got that down. Yo.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
So that's pretty close.
It's the same idea.
5 underlap holds ER, and I think one more shot for David to pull a good rack. But in the absence of bingo lines, we know the S.
Where's it going to go? Even if he does
done.
Yeah.
Will, you just got to make sure you don't open anything up for your opponent and you win the game. I think VEALE, maybe my favorite choice from the V. Just go ahead and empty the bag. There are 4 tiles left after David draws 5.
Mm-hmm.
Empty it. Don't give him the opportunity to do anything cool or cute. Just empty and win.
Yeah, this is just a take care of business situation.
Chat debating whether my one-shot joke was an Eminem joke or a Hamilton joke. I had Eminem in mind, but well done, everybody. We'll peek ahead at round 15, see what kind of cool matchups we can find for y'all before we cut to our next break. Round 15 pairings are up. Board 1, Will Anderson to face Kevin Fraley. Sammy Okasaga on board 2 to face Harshan of England. Wellington versus Russell Honeybun on board 3. I think that might be where we go. We need some Wellington up here, don't we?
I think we do.
All right, so that'll be the matchup we grab. Wellington Jagiri of Nigeria versus Russell Honeybun of Australia. That'll be a fun one. This is not a discussion chat. I've already decided Wellington and Russell is going to be the stream. You can make other suggestions, but Wellington is the call. I've already let our team on the ground know. So, apologies or you're welcome. There we go, Will. Good job. Empty the bag, win the game, dab on us all. ABDEORT will be the last 7 tiles David finds in this game, or David sees in this game, and he will not be able to win. Although that is a nice rack, the board not conducive at all towards getting one down. Look at Will's draw. All those O's finally coming out.
Yeah, that's all that's left. But if you're going to draw something like that, this is exactly the circumstance in which to draw it. I mean, when you've already won the game.
I will shout out to my mom. I don't think this is in Collins yet, but her brownies are the ooeyest out there. Mom, please send me some brownies in Philadelphia. I'm dying without them. Just kidding. I'm sure my mom is not watching this stream. She has better things to do with her life, like not watch Scrabble on the internet. Unlike y'all. Am I allowed to roast the viewers? Is that okay? Production team on the ground, can you let me know? Just kidding. If y'all are losers for watching Scrabble on the internet, I'm even more of a loser for sitting here for 2 straight weeks in my dark room with 2 monitors up talking about it and making bad jokes. I don't need y'all to roast me in chat. I roast myself enough. Thank you very much. So as we wait for David to make his last play, Scrabble is a game, obviously, that means a lot to a lot of us here, myself included. Obviously, I've professed my love multiple times from the top of my soapbox. But Geoff has a love of the game and has also found love through the game. Geoff, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
That's actually true. Yeah. And, and there's a few people, there's a lot of couples in Scrabble that could say the same thing, actually. It's just like, I'd always thought, well, whoever I end up meeting, in my search for love would be somebody who would have to be okay with me being a Scrabble player, as obsessive and strange as that can seem to the outside world. And so, but when I met Melissa, who is also a Scrabble player, we had a lot of friends in common. We just, hadn't had our paths cross, and we did, and that was about a decade ago, and we've now been married for 2 years, and we play Scrabble every Monday night. So, she's a tournament player also. And, like I said, we had, a lot of friends. We had, found that we had a lot in common, and we just got along great. And it's just a wonderful love story, but it can happen. And so, when I talk about, the best things to ever happen to me in Scrabble, it's not, she's coming in first, and it's not close.
And Geoff nearly won a U.S. national championship back in 2006. He finished second at the U.S. Open after losing in a best-of-5 finals. And Geoff to still say, Melissa's the best thing to happen to me in Scrabble, and it's not even close. That's something. I think some of us here maybe would rather have a shot at a national championship than true love. But that means true happiness for you, Geoff. Congratulations to you and Melissa.
Yeah. I still pinch myself, but anyway, yeah, it's a really cool. I mean, just even outside my particular good fortune, I mean, it's a rewarding community to be a part of. I've been playing Scrabble for just about 20 years since my first tournament, and a great many of my friends are Scrabblers. I've met people from all over the country, all over the world doing this. It's not for everybody. It's what we do is a little bit arcane, a little bit strange. But if this is your jam, rest assured that there are other people who share that, and it's cool to meet those people and get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, almost every one of my best friends has been met through Scrabble in some capacity, either on ISC, the Internet Scrabble Club, at some tournament somewhere along the way, on Woogles. But yeah, Scrabble really does bring us all together. And man, I love this game. So happy to see or hear stories too. Mina, we had on stream yesterday, met her partner Cesar through Scrabble as well. Geoff and Melissa, another happy Scrabble couple. I'll see it in chat. There are other stories like that as well. So man, if you're watching this video days, weeks, months after this happens, and you're looking for love, Scrabble's the place to find it. But can't make any guarantees, of course, but get yourself out to a tournament. In any case, you will have a good time. I can assure you of that. So David, looked like earlier he set down routed and EGAS, stared at it for a while, and correctly decided, you know what, I don't like that. That feels wrong. So he picked it back up. EGAS is invalid, and plays Dorba instead, holding AET, more or less ensuring he can go out next turn. And Will looking for his best endgame situation here, and SOOTE, what he decides to go with. So suit, going to put Will up to 439, and David likely to go out. Will has given him 19 points back beneath that play. David pouncing on this opportunity. And there we have it, folks. The final on this one going to be 439 for Will Anderson, 387 for David Whitley. Good game from both players. Great game from Will. We got to see some really interesting tactical decisions. And, he put on a clinic with what to do. Teenias, I think, in particular, was a really neat play by Will and a really cool one. Let's see if we can cut to overhead mic.
Figure out a couple of those turns.
Yeah, I probably had a lot of reasonable choices instead of playing a pony.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of an awkward route, but
Sure. Yeah, with the J. Yeah, I wasn't.
I should have probably given it a little more thought.
I was expecting just WAP
Yeah, that would have been a good plan.
after Tania's. I was like, oh, he'll play WAP, and then maybe I'll cross something there. But you surprised me. Okay, well.
That was painful because I just couldn't find anything. All I was finding was out chid, which like from here, and that's just the worst play. I can't play out chid.
Setting up a nice big. In fact, I had no E there.
Would have
worked.
Great
all right.
strategy.
Yeah, Philem left IN. So yeah, lucky. All right.
I was very happy finding Ventry with my no-val rack.
It looks like a good play with a bad rack for sure.
But I didn't even think it was WAP, so I kind of forgot it was a word.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure. I'm definitely bingoing, so you are going to get it if you see it. Okay. We did agree on this score, 439, 384.
That's what I said.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Putting it in. Yeah, DIT was just agonizing. Just don't know. I don't know what to do there. So, what I thought about doing on this, because I have another I, so I considered just playing DIN. And the reason I would do this is just to prevent you from doing a more annoying setup play here later.
That's true.
And then keeping an eye, and maybe I'll
Everything
draw.
I ever thought of playing there was just not a
hookable.
Setup. It wasn't hookable.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying not to hook, but
Yeah.
I just wasn't. The things that I considered were never.
So this, it feels so ridiculous to play for like 10 points when I could play for 32 or something like that, right? I would be playing for 6, 8, 12 points when I can play for 32 points. But if you have a bingo starting with A or NA, even worse,
I'll feel bad if it turns out I did, but I don't think I did.
I would just feel
I had
so
knowledge
stupid. I feel so dumb.
Sure.
So yeah. Anyway. Kevin Trailer.
Yeah.
Did you have anything there? Probably not, right?
Where? What? Oh no!
When I played,
I had an A. I had 2 A's,
but nothing.
No, I had
nothing good.
AAEGLMR.
AAEGLMR. Yeah, certainly not a bingo. I guess you could play a gleam in that spot if you wanted.
I saw a gleam,
but that doesn't
at a
really.
Different time, it doesn't really.
It doesn't really help you win the game.
Neither does GAM really.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do that. Maybe a gleam wouldn't have been bad.
At least it makes it.
That's funny. I think I saw a gleam maybe while you were making your play. Before you made your play, and then I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah.
By the time it was my turn.
Yeah, it scores pretty well, but I'll still be up by 30 at least prior to my next play.
I think probably at the point that I played GAM, I would give it up.
Yeah, I mean, I just all I have to do after a gleam is just make any play that blocks the new lane, and I should be fine. Well. Yep.
Have a fun rest of the day.
Thank you. Yeah, same to you. Have you been asked to play on this board? Okay.
There we go, folks. So there's our post-mortem. And you can see Will talking to Wellington, the moment we've all been waiting for. Have you been asked to play on this board? Oh, you bet I've taken care of that. So Wellington Jageri of Nigeria, the last of the world champions in the past to be on stream, but he will get his opportunity here against Russell Honeybun of Australia. This is the World Scrabble Championship. We've completed 14 of 32 rounds. We have 2 games to go today, 16 more over the next 2 days, and a best of 7 finals on Wednesday. We will step away to a brief break, although I expect it to be brief, as Wellington already waiting for his shot to play on board 1. Y'all don't go anywhere. We will be right back.